The Volkswagen Golf, democracy on four wheels. For many years, a big favorite the world over. We have gathered together the most sporty versions of the fifth generation Golf to find out which is the true wolf in sheep's clothing. First, the Golf GTI TDI. The 2-litre four-cylinder engine with pump injection produces 170 horsepower, enough to reach 218 kilometers an hour with fuel consumption of 6.4 litres. The top diesel version costs 29,000 euros. Then we have the Uber Golf, the R32. 3.2 litres displacement, a V6 putting out 250 horsepower and permanent all-wheel drive. It uses a lot of fuel though, almost 10 litres per 100 kilometers. It costs a lot too, 35,500 euros. Next, the GTI. The GTI, the classic, now in the 5 Series with 200 turbo-boosted horsepower, 0 to 100 in under 7 seconds, top speed 233, and 1,700 euros cheaper than the sporty diesel. Finally, the 1.4-litre TSI. Compressor and turbo combine to enable an output of 170 horsepower. It's very fast off the mark and demands only 7.3 litres of fuel. At 26,200 euros, it is the least costly of the Golf Sport versions we are comparing. Since 2007, Volkswagen offers GT sports packages with 5 further motorization options. All include 17-inch rims, sport suspension and front and rear treatments in GT look. Golf, a sport of nobility, but a car which is the ultimate Volkswagen. Sales of 25 million units tell the story with eloquence, a story which wouldn't be the same without the GTI. The V-shaped grille marks the current Golf GT. Twin exhaust outlets hint at the potence of the Gran Turismo. Inside, the GT is businesslike and well organized. Aluminium for the central console and the leather-trimmed steering wheel, and red-patterned sports seats complete the look. More luxurious is the interior of the Golf 5 GTI. The leather seats are an optional extra at 1,900 euros. The GTI logo on the sports steering wheel is a must, as is the much sought-after bottle opener. The workmanship is of the very best. One glance at the instruments in their aluminium housings suffice to realize the supreme self-confidence of the people's sports car. The bodywork hints at power under the skin, but without exaggeration or showy touches. Note the mesh grille with the 3 all-important letters. R32, chromed grille, the radiator pulled way down low. The R32 has a much more aggressive look. The 2 centrally positioned exhaust outlets provide plenty of noise and guarantee admiring glances. Unapologetically sporty, bucket seats and leather trim push the price of the Uber Golf up to 40,000 euros. Gimmicky, the blue illumination of the tachometer's needle. The sporting qualities are emphasized by the carbon and aluminium styling. If looks were everything, the R32 would be a hands-down winner. 1.4 litres. One tends to think of a bargain basement version with 90 horses, but the TSI has twin charger. When 1,750 RPM are reached, the compressor cuts in to deliver torque of 240 Newton meters and then hands over by higher revs to the turbo booster. Thus, the tiny TSI engine, with a value of 120 horsepower per litre of displacement, has a higher performance per litre than a Ferrari F430. Relatively low fuel consumption at 8 litres and a comfortable sporting suspension invite to long drives where the corners are tight. Here, the 2-litre diesel is also completely at home. The GT TDI is not quite as quick, but 350 Newton meters give the driver a good push when 2,000 RPM have been reached. Unfortunately, the pump injection unit is rather loud. A maximum speed of 218 is possible, and with prudent driving, fuel consumption can be held under 7 litres. Fuel economy will never be the boast of the GTI, however, particularly when powered by a thirsty 2-litre engine. 280 Newton-meters are available between 1,800 and 5,000 RPMs and make themselves felt. Even at its maximum speed of 233 kilometers an hour, the GTI remains easily handled and comfortable, just like a Gran Turismo should. 200 horsepower all going to the front axle, an engineering challenge certainly, and many hours and much expertise were devoted to getting the settings right. But the pitfalls were avoided, and the GTI has excellent traction even on wet surfaces. At the wheel of an R32, the driver only loses traction when he's distracted by the joy of just listening to the V6 sound. The Uber Golf is more than half a second quicker to the 100 mark than the GTI. Top speed is 250. For performance like this, there has to be an appropriate suspension, and the driver will be in no doubt about the road conditions. Even with the double-clutch DSG system, the claimed fuel consumption of less than 10 litres proves illusory. All four are very definitely sports machines. But which offers the best combination of driving pleasure and economic viability? This question we put to the GT specialist, Mitch Mitländer. First, the twin charger. The 1.4 litre is the lowest powered of our group. All of us were wondering about the 1.4. Could it possibly hold up against the others? We found out that it could. Another positive surprise was the price, the cheapest of the 4 by far. And the fuel consumption? Filling up was painless. The weak point is the sound. And the pickup. It takes a while before the compressor cuts in. Here we have a 2-litre, also with 170 horsepower, but as a pump-injection diesel, it's a sports machine for sure and fun to drive. It is perhaps the right choice for the more reasonable GT driver since it's a diesel, but a disadvantage is the higher price in comparison with the petrol-driven version and the absence of a GTI sound. 3.2 litres, 250 horses, the heavyweight among the GTIs. A great car, there's little more to add. By far the best sound, of course, even if that is always a matter of personal taste. The all-wheel drive detracts from the GTI qualities with less feeling of agility, of lightness. Here we have 1.6 tons to move and you feel it. The extra weight due to the all-wheel drive exacts its price. In today's testing we had a consumption of over 15 litres of fuel per 100 kilometers driven. For me personally, the Golf GTI is the winner. This model brings us back very close to the original GTI, to what a GTI stands for. Driving enjoyment, adequate power, value for money. And the resale value is not to be ignored. Today, the fuel consumption was under 10 litres in spite of 200 horsepower being delivered. It would be the car that I'd buy. The classic GTI wins the day, still impressing with excellent driving dynamics and an affordable price. The GTI myth lives on.